Hello, everyone. Michael, you're supposed to open the show because you were the only one here.
Nope.
Hello,
Not my
everybody.
turn.
Welcome to the 84th episode of the BCM Podcast. I am your host for today, Charles. To my right is Michael, and down there we have is that Stone Cold Steve Austin?
You know that's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. You are fucking with me.
Hulk Hogan. Sorry, Hulk Hogan. That's who it is. Hulk Hogan. And Brad.
Bookster.
How's everything going, guys?
So good. So good. I missed you guys last week.
I know.
Oh, for our loyal viewers, yes, we were not here last week. We all had a lot going on. We were traveling, moving, this, that, the other. So we did not give you warning that we were canceling, but we did cancel. So hope you were for us.
Or do we need to do like solo shows? Like I know that we've done it with just a duo. Usually it's a trifecta. Sometimes it's a duo. Could we do a solo?
I mean, it might be a little dry.
Oh, maybe if you did it.
Okay, Mr. KLBJ.
Oh.
Do the solo show, and we'll see how it goes.
I'll do a solo show one day.
Okay. Next week.
What are you going to talk about?
My two best bros and how much I miss them.
What are their names?
They're my brothers, Charles and Michael.
I forget that your brothers' names are Charles and Michael. It's kind of strange. So we have a lot to talk about today. There's a lot going on in Texas. So a lot of the stuff we're talking about today is Texas specific and Texas related, which I guess is kind of the same thing. We were talking about the ibogaine research before. That's not a topic for today, but it is quite interesting because today Governor Abbott signed a $50 million legislation for $50 million research into ibogaine, which I only found out what it was 10 minutes ago. And so it's quite interesting, and it's for brain trauma and addiction recovery and something else. I missed the other one, but it's quite interesting. So we'll see where that goes. I didn't see PTSD listed, which is interesting because as Brad said before we started, typically things like this would be used for PTSD, and that's the only way they would kind of get through. And I didn't see it listed, so I don't know.
I think Michael could probably confirm that. It seems like all the hallucinogen research is centered around PTSD. Is that right? Isn't it? I mean, Rick Perry.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Rick Perry gets up to the legislature and talks about like legalization of MDMA, and he has to couch it in PTSD, all that stuff. And every time you hear about SB3, and I think we're going to talk about that today, that people, the advocates are talking about it helps with PTSD. It's always about PTSD. Why do we have so much PT? SD.
Why do we have so much of it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have so much of it. I think it's geared towards like veterans, and that's how they get a lot of this stuff through because they set claims for veterans.
I feel like there's a PTSD epidemic.
Well, I think if you go to like the right therapist, you can probably get that. Like they'll probably say you have PTSD.
Hear that, veterans? All you have to do is go to the right therapist. You heard it from Charles Blain himself.
Anyway, let's start with the THC ban because just moments ago, Governor Abbott said, I guess it was a press conference or it might have been at this ibogaine bill signing. They asked him if he was going to sign the THC ban, SB3, or veto it. And he said he hasn't decided, which I think is interesting. It's like the most he said about it ever so far. I saw a longer quote that said something along the lines of he's got to put his judicial hat on and give it. Here it is. I'm going to give it thoughtful consideration from every angle that it deserves. And then something about it. This is a time when I will once again put on my judicial hat and weigh the arguments on both sides and figure out a pathway forward. What do you think's going to happen?
I mean, I think he's going to veto it. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to veto. I think he's going to pull out the veto. He's going to pull out the pen and veto it. Michael's shaking his head like he has inside info, which he fucking probably does. Well, use your big words.
I don't think he's vetoing it. I don't have any insider information, but I don't think he's vetoing it. What's the upside to him? He's probably the most popular he's been amongst the Republican base in his term as a governor or his multiple terms as the governor, pissing off the lieutenant governor and the conservative wing. I just don't see it. I don't see it politically. I think they broke it and they're going to come back and try to fix it next session. That's my read on it, but I could be wrong.
I mean, you think that it's going to piss off the what conservative wing? Are you talking about like just old people?
Republican primary voters.
I know, but I don't. I mean, he's going to piss off so many other people if he does sign it. Like, so many more people are going to get pissed off.
That vote in Republican primaries?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, dude, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm on KLBJ sometimes. And the texters, the callers, like people that vote are politically active. I know, whatever. Are they as politically active as, B. Arthur out in Midland? I don't know. But they're pretty pissed off and they don't really like it. One person suggested that maybe he would not sign it and then release a statement saying that, it's the will of the people or whatever will of the elected, the Texas legislature. I didn't sign it because I don't agree with it. And I, hope that they come back and, fix this mess later on. That could be a way out.
That's a weak sauce way out.
I mean, the whole thing, the only strong thing to do would be to veto it.
Well,
Or
I don't
sign
think,
it.
no, yeah, I don't think it's the only strong.
Signing it is not strong.
It is because you just said he's pissing off a lot of people.
It's not strong. It's weak. That's the weakest thing. He's scared of the old Republican view. That's weak.
You said him signing it would piss off a bunch of people.
I can say one thing and then I can say something totally different a few minutes later, and I'm still right.
But I guess my point is that how is that not strong if he's going to piss off more people than...
The strong thing to do would be the moral thing to do, and that's protecting people's freedom and protecting businesses and protecting livelihoods. That's the strong thing to do. Stop filling up our jails with young black men. Am I right, Charles?
Don't forget the veterans.
Don't forget the veterans.
In the context of this conversation, strong doesn't have a good or bad. It's just what is the more bold thing? And is it
the bold thing is to not destroy so many businesses and keep Texas as a business-friendly state, the Texas miracle alive, the Texas THC miracle alive. I don't know if you know this, but the T in THC stands for Texas.
I mean, you're right. In order, yes, the most bold thing he could possibly do is veto it. But Why would he do that? I don't understand what would be his motivation. You're telling me that all these people who own vape shops who don't vote or vote Democrat are going to all of a sudden start voting Republican primary and put him over the finish line. And it just doesn't make sense from a political standpoint. And then from a moral or principled standpoint, is he that big of a proponent of THC? If he was, where was he during the legislative session? Did he say anything about it? I don't think so. He let it go. What?
Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
I was just saying he let it go. He didn't intervene. He knew if it passed, this would be the aftermath. He had people up there lobbying him that this was going to be the aftermath if it passed, and he didn't intervene then. Why now?
Well, he didn't say anything one way or the other. I don't recall him saying anything against SB3 or for SB3. He kind of kept quiet, and I think that's, a lot of people were pissed off about it, left and right. The people are very upset about it, and why would he do it? About it? Well, you should be, you fucking pothead. But what he's doing it for? Okay, yeah, maybe he loses. I don't know, maybe half the Republican primary voters think that it would be bad for him to vote for it or veto it. Sorry, maybe half of them. They're still going to vote for him over whoever his Democrat challenger is. A Republican's not going to beat him. And if he does veto it, then he saves Republicans from losing young people, middle-aged people, Gen X, millennials, maybe some Gen Z, who will forever see the Texas Republican Party as, these old fuddy-duddies that are afraid of a plant.
So, Michael, just to get back to the point, not the point, but to get back to your guess, you said veto, and Brad, you said not veto, or vice versa?
Other way around.
I said veto.
You said veto. You said not veto. I think, I don't know. I'm leaning on the side of veto.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because why is he not at this point? He could have just said it. I'm just going to let this go because it's the will of the legislature, and this could have been 3 weeks old at this point. So I feel like the drag out is a little bit suspicious, and then for him to actually weigh it, that means he's taking in serious consideration of the other side and the economic aspect of it and all the claims people are making. And these people are they're really rallying. They're up in arms. And then I think to Brad's point though, about losing some people from the party going into 2026 and then beyond, I think he's going to want to, make a big play in major urban counties and potentially build on like what Trump did in 24 in some of these urban counties. And to do that, and not that that's going to seal the deal, but it would certainly reverse some of those trends if he let something like this go into law. So I feel like he's going to be, I guess it's a guess, but I feel like he's going to be doing it.
I feel like you guys are letting your desire get in the way of your reason and your rationale. What do you think Abbott thinks? Oh man, if we could only get some of these kids who are protesting Israel on college campuses to vote for the Republican Party, that'd be real good for us to build on Trump's coalition. You really think that that's what he's thinking about right now?
It's an $8 billion industry in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just Palestinian, like kids flying Palestinian flags at the UT campus. It's a lot of business people. It's a lot of, moms and dads in like affluent neighborhoods that like to pop a gummy on a Saturday night and have a little good time, get mommy a little loose. You know what I mean? And he's going to lose those people too, because they're going to see him as just like their parents, right? He's just like my dad. Gross. Ugh.
So take for instance, like Harris County in 2024, I hope I can pull this up really quick. In 2024, the Republicans lost Harris County, as we typically do, in recent years typically do. But we lost the race so the district attorney's race was lost by 20,000 votes, 749,000 to 720,000 and change. The same thing down the ballot with like all the countywide races. 2022 county judge race was split by like 16,000 votes or something. Something like this could like sway a county like Harris County. So I feel like that is factored into consideration. Like I feel like even if people aren't pro THC, seeing that the Republican Party banned it is going to lose some of those people from that coalition. And like that gap that is so narrow could widen. And I don't think he would want to do that. And not only that's the only reason, but.
And even though he might irreparably damage his relationship with the lieutenant governor and the Texas Republican Party and the very conservative elements of the Republican Party in Texas.
But what if he has goals beyond Texas and he's not going to lose a primary, even if he pisses off RBT and Dan Patrick, he's not going to lose a primary. And what if his goals are beyond Texas?
Yeah, but if he wants to separate himself from Cornyn to be more of a MAGA guy, vetoing the weed bill, which people aren't going to be able to separate in their minds, they're going to see it as him being soft on weed, easy on weed. Does that help him, or does that put him more in the rhino camp?
Well, honestly, why does he need to separate himself from Cornyn?
I'm just saying Cornyn's a good example. He's kind of like pre the border stuff and him sending migrants to New York City and other places in the Northeast. Yeah. He was kind of viewed as like a more moderate Cornyn type.
Yeah.
And his play on the border, at least, was I need to secure MAGA. And so I'm going to get really strong on the border. I'm going to send these migrants. This is what I'm going to do. And he's kind of solidified the Republican base and given himself a brand that he's not like as weak as a Cornyn, but he's still not like a Paxton or a Trump. He's somewhere in between. So if that's the brand he's trying to achieve, why veto a bill related to marijuana?
Well, it's a business bill. It could be spun as a business bill, one, but two, an economic bill. But what you keep saying, okay, yeah, all right, he may not want to piss off Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick seems pretty toxic right now, so maybe he does want to distance himself from Dan Patrick, but maybe not. Maybe they're all buddies. Maybe they really like to hang out and they have slumber parties or something. I don't know. But what is the Republican Party that you keep talking about? Like, I don't see a lot of, like, there's a few Republican like big accounts that are for banning THC for SB3, but I feel like the just regular Republican is that in the Texas Republican platform to ban THC?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. Is it?
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I think you're probably missing here, Brad, is you're a little bit too far in the weeds and in the nuance for the regular voter. I think the perception is amongst the boomers that they have these weed gummies or whatever in these gas stations, and some of them are probably pretty bad. And like they don't want kids Yeah, and they don't want kids getting their hands on them. And so something needs to be done, whether it's a ban or anything else. I don't know that they have a position on, but they probably see those substances or those products as needing to be addressed.
Maybe so. I'm still going with veto.
I don't know. I tried to pull up the platform. I couldn't get it fast enough. But interestingly enough, as I was doing some Googling, in Trump's what is it? BBB, Big Beautiful Bill. There's this
Build Back Better. Is that what you said?
No, I said Big Beautiful Bill.
Oh, okay.
There's a provision to remove existing protections for states that have legalized medical marijuana while maintaining a ban that's prevented Washington, D.C. from enacting a system of regulated adult use cannabis sales. And this was in part of his budget request for 26 sent to Congress. So it does seem like the administration's at least signaling that they are in favor of that kind of stuff. So maybe Abbott doesn't veto it.
They took 100 steps backwards after George Floyd. And this is all mixed into that issue.
Okay, so last call. I still say I think he's going to go with veto. Brad, your veto?
I'm still a veto. So I guess number 204 in the Republican Party platform, marijuana remains illegal. We oppose the legalization of recreational marijuana, and we support offering opportunities for drug treatment before penalties for its illegal possession or use.
Okay.
That's it. That's all it says about marijuana. But it doesn't say anything about THC. So I think gummies and marijuana, that could be different. Doesn't say anything about him.
Michael, your last call is no veto.
No veto.
Oh,
okay.
Michael.
Done. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Huh?
I wish he would, but it's not going to happen.
Okay, so let's stay on the federal government for a second. Well, I mean, we're kind of on the federal government with the Trump.
We weren't on the federal government at all.
Well, I mentioned Trump's bill and how they were cutting the marijuana provision. So we're going to stay on the federal government. I want to talk about this story that I know you guys saw about the White House pushing Texas to redistrict, hoping to blunt Democrat gains. Did you guys see the story? Did you read it?
The White House is pushing for Texas to redistrict the U.S. congressional districts?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, what?
I sent the topics. So
You sent the topics. You didn't send any link or anything.
Okay, you could Google, copy and paste. Anyway, yes.
You can Google? What am I trying to am I trying to get tracked on the internet?
Last night, apparently Republicans from the Texas congressional delegation met at the Capitol to discuss a proposal to redraw the lines of their House districts, according to Pete Sessions. Emerging from the meeting, which was attended by most of the 25-member delegation, they said there's a lot they still don't know, whether or not Governor Abbott would be in favor of the idea, which means would he call a special session or not for lawmakers to come back. What do you guys think? I mean, my first thought is, if he calls a special session, what reason would Democrats have to go? Unless there was something else on that special session call that forced them to go. But if not, why would they even go?
Why you think they'd prevent a quorum?
I mean, I don't know the numbers well enough to say that, I guess, but why would they go? If the session is meant to redraw them out of any sort of future gains, then why would they show up?
Are they going to charter another jet with a 6-pack of Modelo up to DC?
Probably.
I think there's a couple things going on here. One, it's their job, so they'll probably show up. Two, if they don't show up, I don't think there's enough of them to prevent anything from happening. So, okay, don't show up. Great. And then three, the leverage that the federal government has and that I've heard that they may be wielding here is Texas wants to get paid back for the money they put into border security. And I'm hearing rumors that it's potentially tied to this effort to redistrict. So the feds are saying, we're not going to give you, or Trump is saying, possibly, we're not going to give you this money to reimburse you for what you did on the border unless you redistrict. And so they might force Abbott's hand here to call a special session to do redistricting and maybe a couple other things.
Well, maybe a couple. It sounds like you have inside info, Michael. What are the couple other things?
I don't have any insider information.
You said this is what I've heard.
Yeah, not from Dave Carney.
Dave, but still, this is what. Okay, you prefaced all of that with this is what I've heard. This is what, and you say it very authoritatively. It's very believable. What are the other things that they could possibly put on there to get this done?
I don't know.
What does Donald Trump want from Texas?
I just told you he wants them to redistrict.
And a couple other things what you said, but that's fine.
No.
All right, you're going to hold your.
I was saying Trump administration wants them to redistrict, in which case they would have to do a special session, and maybe Governor Abbott puts a couple other things on that special session as well.
Okay, Project X.
No.
Wait, okay, but Brad, what are you alluding to that they might want? Like,
I didn't allude to anything Michael did, and I'm trying to force his hand here, show his cards a little bit.
I told you everything I know in detail of the details. I'm saying Greg Abbott at that point could decide to put other things on a special session agenda if he so wished. Not that there are other things I know of that he wants to put on a special agenda.
It sounds like Trump's being a little bit of a bully. He talked very highly of Greg Abbott and the things that Texas did to secure the border. Texas did a lot. That's very important to Donald Trump. I've heard he's talked about a wall a few times. I don't know if I've seen a wall, but he talks about it. And now he's saying, well, sorry, I appreciate you doing that, but now you got to do a little bit more if you want us to pay back.
Well, they have a 2-seat majority in the House of Representatives, and they're expecting somewhat of a blue wave in the midterm. So in order to keep the House, they got to kind of do, desperate times call for desperate measures. They got to do whatever they can to ensure they still have a majority in 2026.
Well, that's fair, and I would think that Greg Abbott would want to play ball with his party there. I think AOC is going to be a major player. She's going to help the Democrats.
And Jasmine Crockett
blue way.
Presidents.
Please be AOC Jasmine Crockett ticket. That would be so awesome.
No, it was some leadership position. But to Michael's point, I was pulling up the New York Times article, and they're saying that by kind of shoring up some of these other districts, they could potentially leave some Republicans more vulnerable than previously by taking Republican voters out of those districts to shore up other ones. And so, I don't know. It's a gamble because you don't know what turnout's going to look like. And so, it's a gamble. But I don't think you said that they're going to show up because it's their job. I don't think that matters. I don't think they care. Like I don't know. If he'd have to put something really interesting or compelling, I think, on there for them to show up. And I'm sure that it exists. I just don't know what it is. Maybe it is Project Connect.
They showed up for the last 3, and it wasn't like there was any blue meat on there for them.
No. Did they show up for the last 3? I thought they skipped. Was that not? When did they break quorum and then fly up there?
That was 2 sessions ago. Last one was school choice, property taxes, bail reform, one other thing.
Wait, the last special was school choice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it never passed. Yeah. Remember, he did like 7 special sessions and never got it done.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
And they didn't have property taxes. They were at a stalemate too on the homestead exemption versus compression and bail reform. And there was one other thing I can't remember though.
Well, I'm looking to see if there's anything else interesting in this meeting. It doesn't really seem like there was much else. Everybody declined to comment for the most part. But it is interesting that it's coming kind of mid-decade before 2030, which is when they should do it. But then I guess would that mean we do it again in 2030? Like every 5-year schedule? It's a bit much, don't you think? So I don't know. We'll see. Do you guys think they're going to end up going through with it? Well, one, do you think the White House has enough carrots to dangle to force Abbott's hand? And 2, do you think if they did call a special session, it would be successful? They would actually redistrict.
Is Greg Abbott fighting against it?
I don't know what he's doing.
You say force his hand as if his hand needs to be forced. His hand may already be, on the button.
Well, it's
he may have already typed up the email.
I say force his hand because he's the only one who has the authority to call a special session.
Okay, it implies that he doesn't want to, but I get it.
I think it happens.
You think it happens? Oh wow!
More insider info from Michael Searle. You heard it here first.
So watch him to be wrong on all of this.
So then we just solved both problems, though. If they call the special session for this, then he vetoes the THC ban and then puts THC regulation on the special session call.
It's possible.
All his problems are solved.
It's possible.
Or just opened. I don't know. Brad,
What
what do you think's gonna happen?
do I think that Texas is going to get redistricted to save the Republican majority?
Well, do you think first that he's actually going to call a special session for it, and two, do you think if he did, it would get through?
I mean, I guess the question is, what would he call the special session? I think maybe, I don't know. I feel like he would feel pressured to come up with a better reason to call the special session. I don't think he's going to call a special session saying that Donald Trump told me to, so that we can redistrict. But so I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's got to get snuck in there somehow.
Easy. We've had a huge influx of people moving to the state since the last census was pulled, the last redistricting. Our districts are all out of whack, and we have to redraw the lines. Texas has had the most immigration from other states of any other state. We've got to do it. Easy. The reason he doesn't want to do it is because the legislators don't want to do it for two reasons. One, they don't want their districts redistricted, and two, they don't want to come back for a special session. And a third, I guess, point would be that I don't think a new speaker has had a special session since I can remember. So Burrows doesn't want to do it either because he feels like he got everything he needed to get done, and there's no need for a special session.
Burrow got everything he wanted. Burrows?
No,
Well, they missed one. They missed one bail reform piece, but yeah.
Uh-oh.
But to Michael's point, also another reason that they could call is 3 weeks ago. Is it? This article says the lawsuit over the current maps started in federal court, and so the Biden administration sued over these maps that were drawn in 2021. So now it's in front of a three judge panel. And so, yeah, they could redraw it and say, well, like, this case is pending anyway, so let's redraw the maps and make them better or whatever.
You guys want to hear the other rumor I'm hearing?
Yes.
Yes, more insider info. You heard it here first.
I'm hearing Lieutenant Dan might not be seeking re-election.
That was applause, people.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
He did just announce that he had the full GOP caucus supporting him in the House or in the Senate, but for re-election. But I've heard that was just a show, and that he's possibly not running for re-election.
So what do you? I mean, you think you hear this rumor, and we got to circle back to the THC thing. You're talking about Greg Abbott pissing off Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick's probably not even looking for re-election. Who cares?
Well, he's still lieutenant governor.
I mean, barely.
And if there's a special session, he's still lieutenant governor. So I mean, it could still cause a lot of problems in the meantime.
Yeah, well,
whatever. He's going to be very influential in who our next lieutenant governor might be as well.
So we got. Yeah,
what?
Who's that? Who's going to be the next? Who's the next light gov? Don't act like you haven't heard names.
I love how he's like, why would I know? Who would tell me?
I mean, I think Middleton was probably very high on that list, but has now announced for AG. Will he still run for AG if light gov that's not to run? I don't know. Brian Hughes is very high on that list. Brandon Creighton's probably high on that list. I think Senator Paul Betancourt is interested in becoming light gov. I think Joan Huffman. I think there's a long list of people who are interested in being lieutenant governor or AG. And if Dan Patrick decides not to run in the near term, I think that shakes up the AG race.
Which is a more I mean, I guess these are two different things, prestigious and powerful. They're two different things, but which one is more prestigious, AG or light gov?
Prestigious.
Huh? Like if you had to put one on your resume, you were lying about let's say you were making up a resume because you wanted to apply you wanted to be Abbott's chief of staff and you wanted to put something in your resume.
You would put lieutenant governor or AG.
Yeah.
I think I would go with lieutenant governor.
Would work. Yeah, probably slightly more prestigious as lieutenant governor.
Which one's more powerful?
AG.
Huh? Charles? Come on, gut feeling, go.
I'd say lieutenant governor. I mean, the AG has a lot of power, but I'd say lieutenant.
Who's more powerful? Who's more powerful, the vice president or the attorney general of the United States?
Yeah, but the vice president and lieutenant governor are not at all the equal power. That would be if the vice president was more powerful than the president.
I'm sorry, I don't follow that one, but I mean,
me
it's a different system.
Who's more powerful, the governor or the lieutenant governor?
Governor.
Governor.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I mean, I guess.
People are going to be blown away.
I mean, I don't know. I think the lieutenant governor wields a lot of power, and I'd probably go there. But I can see why AG would be picked.
He wields a lot of power in the Senate in the lawmaking process.
Yes. And I mean, but not just that. Like, he forced that special session last year, and a couple of them, I think. And like he and the THC, like all of these dominant conversations we have are coming from him. So I don't know.
Well, he has. So you're saying he has a way to help podcasters talk about things. Because we're talking about you said the things that we're talking about are from him, and we're just some podcasters.
Well, no, I didn't mean like us
maybe
here.
The TikTok commenters are right, and they need to tax podcast equipment a little bit more.
I didn't mean us here. I meant dominant conversations in Texas. Like
I know. I was joking with you, bud.
Trying to be funny.
I know. It's all right, guys. Yeah, it went over your head. Michael got it right away, though. What does that say about you? Go ahead.
All right. Well, let's stick to. Well, we can transition to both of these because they're both related.
It is Pride Month.
So the AG's race that we talked about. I was looking for an article that gave a rundown of all of the candidates, and interestingly, well, it's not that interesting, but Wikipedia has a very extensive list of all the candidates who have declared, publicly expressed interest, potentially will express interest, withdrew, and declined. And so, I mean, some of these people I had not even thought of. So obviously, Senator Mays Middleton has declared, I think the only one. Well, so did John Bash, but he is under the withdrawn category now. Publicly expressed interest, they have Brian Hughes. But if I recall correctly, Brian Hughes recently said no. Did he not? I thought I saw that. Maybe not. Matt Rinaldi, former chair of Texas GOP, and they don't have it listed here, but Trey Traynor, chair, I think, of the FEC, was tweeting over the weekend that he's praying about it. So they should put that name there. It's not there. And then, Aaron Wrights, who's also not listed on here. He's like deputy AG for something or other. I don't know the exact position, but he used to be Cruz's chief of staff, and he was in Paxton's office. Did he publicly declare interest, or are they just writing about him?
No, he publicly declared interest.
Okay.
I thought he publicly announced that he was running.
Oh, maybe. I just saw the article in the headline. I didn't see. I didn't read any quotes. But then they have listed under potentials: George P., Brandon Creighton, Eva Guzman, Brian Harrison.
Who's George P.?
Bush.
Okay, well, you didn't say Bush, so I didn't know if like P was something else. Like, calm down.
Is Brian Harrison an attorney? Oh, anyway, Brian Harrison, Joan Huffman, Eric Johnson, Mayor of Dallas, Jeff Leach, Mitch Little, Chip Roy, they have Trey Traynor here. Well, he's publicly expressed interest. So, and then Don Willett, the judge for the United States Fifth Court of Appeals. I didn't hear about him.
And a lot of people that nobody knows. Like, that's not gonna. None of those people have a chance. I mean, maybe people know George P. Bush.
No one on this list people knows. Like, I mean, I think some people like know Mays Middleton, but he's got a ton of endorsements. But I mean, say it's probably equivalent to like Joan Huffman in terms of who people know.
I feel like people know Middleton more than Huffman. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong. Michael has the insider info. He knows.
Well, here for sure. I mean, I feel like. Well, no, it's even because they're both from here. So I don't know.
So what's your question?
I don't know. I just want to talk about the race. What do you guys think is going to happen?
I think Middleton's got the momentum behind him right now. It seems like, and then you just listed a bunch of people that fucking like are like, who are these people? And I recognize a few of the names, obviously, but the normal, I don't think anybody knows anybody.
It's I think it's Middleton's to lose at this point. I mean, Trey Traynor, great run. Aaron Reitz, great run. I just think Middleton has the conservative creds, the cash to pull it off, but none of the, we're going to need to see if some of these bigger names get in and how divided the votes get. I mean, I think the one thing Mays amongst the base is that he was supportive of impeachment, wasn't he, until the Senate trial? Or was he kind of quiet about it? I feel like he was.
From what I remember, he was quiet about it. But on those first articles where they were all voting, I think no, there were a couple of them that voted yes on them. So I think he was in that category on a few of the articles. Not yet the impeachment articles, but like I don't know if it was the rules or something. But it was a vote that was different from the rest. So yeah, there was that.
Yeah, and in a race that's going to be pretty much defined by the Paxton-Cornyn showdown, I think there's probably an opportunity for someone not right of him, but in the Paxton camp to kind of say he wasn't strong enough when the rhinos and the Democrats in the House were trying to impeach Ken Paxton. But is Aaron Reitz going to be that guy? Because he was with the AG at the time and has been a strong supporter, and then went to Cruz and now is in the U.S. Attorney General's office. Is he going to be that guy? But nobody knows who he is yet. So I don't know if and Mays has not unlimited private funds, but quite a bit of money to put behind his campaign. And you can't really say he's not conservative.
Does Trump, Paxton, and Cruz get involved?
Yeah.
Cruz, probably.
Trump, for sure. Cruz, probably. And Paxton, yeah. I think they all do.
Uh-oh.
All of them. Wow.
All three, the trifecta. You think they all go for the same person? You think there's some coordination behind? Is there a conspiracy behind the scenes?
As of right now, they would all go for Mays Middleton. That will change as the field expands.
You think it will? I mean, who is the next best or next most likely? Next, I don't know, most excited. I don't like however you want to phrase that. What's the next one? What's number 2? Mays Middleton, and then who?
I mean, out of the people who have, sorry, go on.
I said I think it's Brian Hughes.
Brian Hughes. Okay.
I'm going to double check. I thought I saw a tweet or something where he pulled out like yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. In terms of well known, I get do people know senators? Like I don't think senators. Like I don't know who the next. I think if Joan Huffman got in, probably her, because she's just always been so kind of high profile in all the criminal justice and public safety related stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Or maybe it's that the Joan Huffmans and the Brian Hugheses of the world have some insider information about what the lieutenant governor intends or not intends to do and are waiting to see.
Some more of that inside info. Okay.
It's speculation, not insider information.
I'm not saying that's you're talking about inside info. Maybe they got inside info, and I don't know. I'm just saying, it seems like you got a lot of it today, Michael.
Well, it could be two things. One, do you want to run against Mays Middleton and his conservative cachet and his endless bankroll? Do you really want to do that to one of your colleagues if you're a senator as well? That could be the reason they're not running, or there could be another reason. Maybe they're waiting to see what else opens up. Is
Mays Middleton really that wealthy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how wealthy is really wealthy? Like 100 million? He's a billionaire?
I don't count people's money, but he's very wealthy, and I'm sure you can Google it if you really want that answer.
Oh my God! I mean, you guys are sitting here talking about his personal wealth and how big it is.
I've not said it once, but it is true. Yes, he's very wealthy.
So it's not like an unreasonable question to ask, since y'all are using it as an argument to say that why he is a strong candidate. Okay, well, how much is that?
Well, I don't think. I mean, yes, the money helps, but I think if the endorsements that he's been rolling out. I'm looking at Brad Johnson from the Texans Twitter. He just tweeted 20 minutes ago that Mays has 33 of 80 Republicans in the House. And found it. So June 6th, Brad Johnson tweeted, Brian Hughes tells Texan that he will not run for Texas Attorney General. So yes, he's not running for Texas Attorney General. And Mays has 30 of the 88 Texas House Republicans. So I think the endorsements that he's been rolling out, which have just been nonstop, have been kind of like his big thing.
How about James Tellerico for governor? Am I right, guys?
You'd vote for him.
I might, just for fun. I mean, depending on who he's against, right? If he's going, I mean, if I know the conservative's going to win, I might give Tallarico a vote or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the last names on this list are in the Democratic primary, and it's Joe Jaworski, who ran before, former mayor of Galveston, Roland Gutierrez, state senator, Nathan Johnson, state senator, Justin Nelson, partner at Sussman Godfrey. So none of them will win, but, best of luck to them in the Democratic primary.
Mays Middleton net worth from world-wire.com. Very reputable source.
Reputable.
Mays Middleton has a whopping net worth of $5 to $1 million.
Okay,
Great.
so staying with the legislature, kind of, I want to talk about Project Connect, at least in part, and these slate of House bills that died in calendars that were all related to transit authorities. It's very strange, and I don't understand what's going on. And I want to see if anybody had any insight or commentary surrounding it. So Project Connect, which would have passed last session, but for a point of order by a Democrat, right? That's accurate.
Right.
Went down this session because it was stuck in, or at least one of the bills, because it never got out of calendars. Similarly, a DART, Dallas Area Rapid Transit bill, that was supposed to reform that agency and take, I think, something like $260 million from it and give it to some of the small cities, never got out of calendars committee. That was Matt Shaheen's bill. Houston, Hectra had a bill, Bancourt had a bill to take 30% of Hectra's excess funds, which is like $80 million, and give it to the city of Houston from Harris County. Somehow that bill didn't get out of calendars either. And I just find very interesting. I just don't understand. I mean, these aren't no-name legislators. These are, people who carry weight. These are people who should have some authority, and yet they went to calendars and it just never got out. What do you guys think of this?
Texans love their trains, man. That's all I can say.
Maybe they should just be nicer to Todd Hunter. That was the problem. It was a personal that is misinformation that I'm spreading right there. That's not what
Should
happened.
they wear black button downs and a black tie and black pants?
Go ahead.
Wait, what's interesting?
Well, I mean, it's interesting that I didn't know that there was all these mass transit bills that just all failed. Like the Texas legislature, the Republican legislature is trying to rein in some waste, fraud, and abuse.
Let's be clear. They didn't really. I mean, yes, they failed, but they didn't get a vote to fail. They just never got brought to the floor. Because I think they probably all would have passed if they got an opportunity to.
Is there some sort of train lobby that we don't know about?
There is that. So I would say the second most critical component of this, at least when it comes to Project Connect, I don't know as much about DART and Hectra, but I'm sure this exists, is there's a lot of money to be made by construction firms, engineering firms, people who sell buses, who build railroads. They have lobbyists. HDR Engineering, as an example, is a huge global, engineering firm that got, $25 million right out the gate when Project Connect passed, and they contributed a couple $100,000 to it passing. So to think that they're not up at the legislature hiring big lobby firms to oppose these things is naive. However, the Housing Finance Corporation had all the big lobbyists on their side, and they got steamrolled by the legislature. It didn't matter that they had a bunch of money and billionaires funding lobbyists. That didn't matter. So something was different here. What was different here, in my opinion, is that local urban Democrats who were part of the coalition that got Dustin Burrows the gavel, these things were very high on their priority list of things to stop. So as Burrows is negotiating for the gavel, for HJRs, for other priorities of his, these are the things that got dealt. And I can say with certainty that's what happened with Project Connect. I'm assuming it's also what happened with DART and Hector, which was the local delegation was like, well, you want my support for you being speaker, or you want my support for whatever else, HJR, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, you can't let these bills pass. And in order to not let them pass, they had to die in calendars, because if they went to a vote on the floor, they would have passed.
I agree.
That's what
I
happened.
agree. And I think the journal resolutions, most of them were, I don't know if they were spurred necessarily by Harris County, but kind of with all the stuff that we have gone on with bail reform. So I know that the Harris County delegation was very much, there was a conversation about a week or two before the vote where most of the Democrats, I think, were still against it. And then one day, like, they got word, and Gene Wu had like spread word, like, you guys can break and vote for this. And I remember like it spread around town, and everybody was like, oh, suddenly all the Democrats are supporting it. And this was also happening parallel to meetings in Austin where one Harris County commissioner and her staff were called to Austin, summoned to Austin to have like a somewhat of a debate with the mayor's staff about HECTRA funding and why she was supposed to defend why they should keep all of it. And the mayor's staff was supposed to defend why they should get some of it. And so, yeah, I think I agree. I think it seems like there was some horse trading, and those horses got traded.
They sure did.
What? So hold on a second. I mean, you guys say that if it went to the floor for a vote, they would have passed, but they didn't even make it out of calendars. I mean, shouldn't that irk people a little bit that bills that would pass, like, they don't even get a vote on because some jabroni at calendars committee doesn't like it?
Yes.
Well, it's not that a jabroni at calendars committee didn't like it. If I needed to take a straw poll of calendars and see if Stan Gerdes and Jeff Leach and Todd Hunter and Cody Harris and the Republicans on the calendars committee wanted the Project Connect bill to pass, we would pass. This was a direction from the highest levels of the House, which is Speaker Burrows himself, to not let these bills move. That's what happened. I was involved, obviously. It's not personal. I know he's got to make deals, but like, let's be honest about what happened here. It wasn't that Todd Hunter had a problem with it. It was that his boss, Dustin Burrows, said, these bills can't get out. And I know that the highest levels of the Texas government were involved in trying to pass these bills, and that wasn't enough. So what could possibly have been more leverage than that?
Crazy.
I don't know, man. Grow some balls.
It's crazy. And now, you guys get Project Connect. We still get no audit because the bill for HECTRA had an external audit, and it was going to limit all this funding that go to the commissioners that they just kind of spread around the county for whatever they want. So they get to continue to do that. DART. I looked into the DART bill. The cities were upset because they put a lot of money into DART and get nothing. Plano, for instance, put, I think, every year it's like more than $100 million they put into DART. 2023 is 109. DART spent like $40 million in Plano in terms of like projects. And so I can see why they were mad. So yeah, we're all still stuck with that because,
You say we're going to get Project Connect, but we're not.
Probably not. Still.
Oh, well, you guys are lucky. The rest of us.
No, I mean, they still have hundreds of millions of our dollars, and the taxes aren't going to go away.
Did you see what they did? They still can't issue bonds because they haven't had their bonds validated as legal by a court. The AG's office has already said they're illegal, which is how you normally, for a local bond, get it approved. You just go to the AG's office, public finance. You get it. You tell them how you're going to pay for it. So like, okay, that's approved. Well, in this case, they went to a court to approve it because they couldn't get AG's approval. So because they can't get bond approval, and because they haven't got federal funds, which I don't think they're going to get under the Trump administration, they have put out a solicitation to start cash financing the rail project. So they're going to pay for part of it so that when they're in court on the bond, they're like, but we've already started laying track. These people are crazy.
God,
it's crazy. They're doing everything they can to get that rail. Well, I hope the federal government
100 feet of it.
Charles, you know what it's like to do anything to get that rail. You know what I mean?
No. Right. I hope the federal government doesn't give money to it, and I hope they also don't give money to Texas Central. There was some update to Texas Central a couple months ago. I can't remember what it was. I think it was towards the end of the Biden administration, so I think it was a green light for some sort of development phase. So hopefully this new administration does not give money to Texas Central high-speed rail, and we don't have it come down I-45 because we like to take Southwest to Dallas.
Ugh.
Or drive.
Houston's the worst.
Anyway. All right, so that's that on that. Let's talk about, let's mix it up a bit. I hope you guys heard about these 6,000-year-old skeletons in Colombia.
Those are the only kind of skeletons I like to hear about.
Well, good. Did you read the article?
I started to read it, and I tried to. I have a Colombian friend, and I tried to see if I could translate it, but my browser wouldn't translate it. But yeah, I kind of read a little bit. Got some old DNA, some unique DNA, huh?
The article I sent was from CNN and it's in English.
I know, and I talked about translate. You know what translate means? Do you understand how to? You know, I said I wanted to translate it into Spanish to share with my Colombian friend.
I thought you wanted him to translate it to English. Sorry.
Yeah. Can you translate this to English for me, please? It's in English. Senor, it's in English.
Anyway, genetic data of 21 individuals whose skeletal remains were found in Bogota Altiplano in central Colombia, some of whom lived as long as 6,000 years ago. And so what did you learn from it, Brad?
Well, I learned that it's a previously unknown population of humans. I presume it's humans. It could be aliens. You never know, right, Michael? But they don't have any modern ancestors, right? So it's a real mystery, a real head scratcher. Where are these people from? What does it say about the origins of the human race? You know what I mean?
Yes, they're saying it's a blank spot in ancient DNA.
A blank spot, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Were
Isn't
they,
it weird
were they,
though? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask a question. It was CNN, so the article was lacking in any real substance, if you will. So for those, a little bit more. Anyways, were they saying that it's not linked to any specimen that they found DNA or otherwise, or that they just haven't made the connection yet?
Well, all the other articles outside of CNN are saying that this could rewrite human history because it belongs to a mysterious group of people and they were undiscovered. So it seems like they were just like outside. They don't know where to plug them into the human timeline.
They're like the Denisovans.
Exactly like them, except for on the other side of the world.
Yeah, they're just like
Denisovans. Opposite hemispheres on both directions.
Yeah.
It says it does not match that of any population in the region today. Their DNA shows a distinct link with the earliest humans to reach South America, but remained genetically isolated for thousands of years before their lineage disappeared completely. I don't know. It's interesting. 500 years. I don't know. There's something else about 500 years ago.
Here's a picture.
Oh, wow.
You want to know my favorite part of the article? Is that a real picture of the remains?
They look.
It says the remains of hunter-gatherers excavated in the Altiplano region of Colombia were part of the previously unknown genetic lineage that disappeared at least 2,000 years ago. Image credit Ana Maria Groot.
My favorite part of the article, there was two things. One, that CNN is still holding on to the narrative that, because CNN has to, what the experts say. So two things in there that are going to be proven to be wrong when we give us 100 years, and it'll be proven to be wrong. One, that humans first passed the Bering Strait 13,000 years ago. They're still saying that. I thought that's been disproven a long ago. Do you guys know?
It's been disproven on the Joe Rogan podcast, but it hasn't been disproven in the history books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the first thing. Now I'm blanking on the second thing. So let me go find it. There was a second thing.
Were you going to say the out of Africa theory?
No, that they were hunter gatherers. Like they had to say that. Why? Why do they have to say that? What is the purpose of including that they were hunter gatherers?
What else would they be?
Modern. They could have been part of a modern civilization.
I mean, 6,000 years ago in Colombia, I don't know how. I mean, a modern civilization. What's
I don't mean modern? I mean that they weren't hunter gatherers. Maybe they had agriculture. Maybe they had other things. Maybe they were building big buildings that we find down there, stone buildings. But to imply that they're hunter-gatherers means that they didn't have the sophistication to have their own agricultural products, their own building, their own ways of building and things like that, that they insist did not exist prior to 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
That is the myth.
Didn't you see that picture of them? They looked like hunter-gatherers to me. They didn't look like very sophisticated. They looked scared.
They look scared. I mean, they look like they're up to some shenanigans.
It looked like somebody placed them in there like that.
It looks like that head's getting pretty close to the bottom there. You know what I mean?
That's how they slept. They were hunter-gatherers.
They slept with their head next to their buddy's butt?
All right, so to wrap this up,
To butt or nut to nut, but never butt to nut. Am I right, guys?
to wrap this up, before our next show, we're going to be going through No King's Day, apparently,
No
and
kings.
the Trump parade, Trump military parade. So these protests supposed to be happening all over the country on Saturday. We saw what happened in LA. We're having protests. You guys are having one at the Capitol, I think. There's going to be one in Houston. There's going to be everywhere they're having these protests on Saturday. Do you think they're going to get out of hand in Texas?
They already
And
did.
when?
Monday, there was like 13 arrests in Austin. The police had to do tear gas.
Oh, did they really? Oh, I didn't hear about that. Sorry.
I mean, I don't know. Did it get out of hand? I mean,
You just said it did.
were they throwing rocks? Well, I mean, the police could have just been throwing tear gas because it was an old canister about to expire. They had to get rid of it. Who knows? But they didn't do that. But they weren't throwing rocks at cars off the bridge, I don't think. Well, yeah, it's gonna get raucous, brother.
I mean, when I say out of hand, I'm talking about the things we saw in California. Like, do you think it's going to maybe not even rise to that level? Because I feel like it would never get that bad. But do you think we're going to see anything outside of the norm of what we typically see from protests here in Texas?
Look at all these protests that are planned this weekend. And yeah, and let me tell you how I know. Because look at this. There's 199 partners listed. All these NGOs, huh?
See if we know any of them.
Oh, you do. There's the Bernie.
They're
There's the
all
Bernie campaign.
funded.
There's the Bernie campaign. There's the ACLU. There is Catholics. Oh, that's a different one. Never mind.
There's climate defenders. What are they doing?
There's Sierra Club. There's a bunch of other environmental groups. Human Rights Campaign, of course.
Mennonite Action. What are they doing on there?
Move On. Mennonite Action. There's a lot, dude. There's a lot.
What does this have to do with the climate?
Well, that's the thing. None of this is about what is the Sierra Club? What do they care about immigrants, right? I mean, it's not like on a personal level, the CEO of Sierra Club or anybody that works there may be like open borders forever, borders are racist, whatever. They could feel that way. But Sierra Club's about the environment. Right? Don't they want 15-minute cities? Right? Don't come all the way up here. That's a more than 15-minute travel. You got to stay where you are.
Yes. So to answer the question, do you think they're going to get crazy, or do you think it's just going to be another day in Texas?
It's going to get. No, I don't know. I think that there's enough spooking going on by Abbott. He's already talking about he already sent the National Guard to San Antonio.
It's kind of racist.
What's kind of racist? That he sent to the way that I said San Antonio?
No.
San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What gets me is you go on Twitter, and so there were protests here. I was out of town this weekend. It's like, I think it was Sunday, maybe. And all these people on Twitter are like, they better not get in front of me. I'll take them down. Like, I'll shoot them. These are the same people who are afraid to go to HEB at 8:00 at night because it's too dangerous out there. But yet they're going to go and be on the front lines defending against these protests.
Well, HEB at 8 p.m. is pretty dangerous, especially in Houston. But that's when you're by yourself. But when you're with a group, when you're with the Houston, the Montrose militia, you know, there's power in numbers.
I don't know that it's going to get out of hand, but it's going to be all anybody's talking about, and we're going to see a bunch of videos on social media, and both sides are going to be like, this was horrible, and the other side's going to be like, oh, but you're horrible, and it's going to be all anybody's talking about. Does that mean it's out of hand? I have no idea. Some people are going to get hurt for sure, as they always do. But I would say I felt like Trump was having a little bit of a downslide there for a minute. And then that image of the guy with the shirt off holding the Mexican flag above the burning car, I was like, gosh, is that guy a Fed? Because Trump needed that bad.
It's true. He did.
Why do you think that he was on a downslide?
We had
just
a show
the Musk stuff and
they made up
the deportation. That one, like
that looks like the guy from the Austin Justice Coalition.
That's who I thought it was. I had to zoom in.
Doesn't it look like him?
Yeah, a little bit like Chaz Moore.
It does.
What I find funny though is I know what we're going to see is a bunch of state reps tweeting, "This isn't Texas. We can't have this in Texas," and like. And I'm not just state reps, elected officials. I'm not just going to pick on state reps. Elected officials saying stuff like that. And I hate when they say that. Like when they retweet something from Texas, being like, "This isn't Texas." Like it is though. It is. Like it's Texas.
This is what we voted for. You're going to see a lot of that. This is what we voted for.
Yeah.
But we talked about this as soon as Trump was inaugurated. The immigration policy, which people supported, is going to get messy. It's going to. Mm-hmm. If that's the policy, you're going to deport people and you're going to go into Home Depots and send people back to the country they're from. Like that's going to get super messy. And so
it is. And that's where we are. And that's at an hour. So if anybody has any closing thoughts, feel free to hit it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. Okay, great. You guys have any closing thoughts?
I just don't understand why these. I mean, there's nothing more patriotic about a Mexican that's angry about having to go back to their country. You know what I mean?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the wise words of Brad, as always.
So
thank you for tuning in.
It's a confusing message.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone, to this week's episode of the BCM Podcast. Again, I'm your host, C. That is Brad. That is Michael. Tune in next week. We'll have a lot to talk about. We don't know what it is yet, but we'll find out. And I won't be hosting. I think Brad is.
We will be talking about Epstein.
We're not. There's nothing's going to happen.
Maybe there will be another Elon Musk crash out, but we will not know. TBD. See you guys later.